Sharjah, the cultural capital of the UAE, has had a passion for the written word since 1982, under the continued guidance and patronage of His Highness Dr. Sheikh Sultan bin Mohammed Al Qasimi, UAE Supreme Council member and ruler of Sharjah. May I proudly present a quote from His Highness. Those of us who enjoy reading in the Emirate of Sharjah are very keen to create a reading community and promote the benefits of reading among children. For that reason, we provide the best, most suitable books for the whole family. We believe that books must be available to all, and from this concept, we turn book fairs into an oasis of knowledge and entertainment. And we know what an oasis of knowledge the Sharjah International Book Fair is to all of us. Now, I know you're all here, not for me, but for an author who actually does not require any introduction whatsoever. He is an absolute brilliant maverick at whatever he does. He's an author, of course. He's a columnist. He's a motivational speaker. He's a scriptwriter. And most recently, he's a stand-up comedian. He dons many hats, and he makes each one of these hats better than the previous one. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Chetan Bhagat. And as we all know, we are here for the international launch of Mr. Bhagat's latest novel, 400. I'd like to invite on stage Ms. Khawla Al-Mujaini, Director of Fairs and Festivals of Sharjah International Book Fair, for the launch. So, I am a huge fan of Chetan Bhagat, pretty much like everyone else in this room. And, you know, from 5 Point Someone to every book of yours, I've read it. So tell us, what is 400 about?
400 Days is my latest book. It's actually, firstly, before I talk about the book, because I've come to Sharjah, let me just say thank you for having me here. And it's not the first time I'm here.
Yes.
I think the first time I came here was in 2011. And it's been more than 10 years. And we've both grown.
Yes.
I've grown older, and Sharjah Book Fair has become bigger. And it has become the world's best. I have always felt it is the world's best, and now it's official that it's the world's biggest. And you know, what is amazing about this event is it's done so well. It's like a 5-star quality event, but yet it's absolutely free, and it's for everyone. And I think that's unique about it. And today it's even more unique that, you know, there is this stupid virus that we are like had sick of it, and we are trying to get back to a normal world. And I think the authorities who decided to go ahead with the book thing, it's like saying the human spirit will not die. And that's what books are about. That's what writers are about, that the human spirit will live on. And I want to, today especially, I always do it whenever I have an event. Today, those of you who braved it to come to this event, wearing face masks and attending the event, all the guests who have come to listen to my talk, I personally want to thank you. This means a lot to me. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you for coming. So I hope we have a good enough conversation that it's worth the face mask, you know.
Yeah, I hope so too.
And the book is, okay, so the book is 400 Days. It's a story of a missing child, a 12-year-old girl who's missing for a long time. Even the police have stopped looking, but the mother doesn't. A mother will never stop looking. So she literally goes to one neighbor in her building, in her condo, and who's an amateur detective, one boy, and she says, can you help me find my daughter? It's about something which is very important these days, which is not discussed enough, that all our children have phones. You know, because of Zoom classes, because of the schools being shut and all so many things. when I say children, I mean 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds. It's very common for them to have phones now. We will never let our children talk to a stranger in a mall or from the balcony. We will never allow that. And we are pretty good at protecting that. But who is talking to your children on the phone, on the internet? Like once they have the phone, literally anybody can reach them. And it's not discussed enough. And things do happen. And you can put parental blockers and all, but that only blocks a few sites. But what if someone is talking to your child on Instagram, on Gmail, on Facebook? What are you going to do then? So I thought a book, if it can come up with this issue, that's the issue of today. Like 20 years back, I wrote a book about, if you want to be an engineer or not. But today we are living in these times. So that's what 400 Days is about. And I'm sure you guys will really like it, because I think, and I know it's me saying it, it is my best book because I wrote it in the lockdown with zero distractions, When you're locked down in a house with your wife, husband and wife do their best to avoid each other, right? We all know the feeling, painful. So for me, the best way was to start writing, that I'm writing, don't disturb me. And there was nothing else literally happening in the world. And so that's when I wrote 400 Days. So I think it's come out better than my other books, because other books I'll write some, then I'll travel, come back and resume. This is like just, don't start a world war at home, write the book.
Okay, so coming back to the topic, it is so relevant, and I'm a parent of an 11-year-old, and you have literally taken my worst nightmare and made a story out of it. So how did you get the inspiration for this?
It's, believe it or not, based on a real case. It's a real case. I don't want to reveal too much on the story, but basically it's a 12-year-old girl who's missing. And when she was taken away, her 6-year-old sister was, and this is a real case, a 6-year-old sister was also in bed, and she was awake, but she was too scared. But she's the only witness, a 6-year-old girl. And so therefore, if you see the cover of the book, it has a painting made by us, the sister, the younger sister, who says, please help me find my elder sister. So that, when I heard about that case, it was just like crazy. Like, how can something like this happen? And the only witness is this 6-year-old girl. And so that's where it comes from. But yeah, the book is not scary, actually. The book is fun. It is a Chetan Bhagat book. It is got romance. The mother goes to the detective. Of course, they fall in love with each other because it is my book. So it's not meant to scare you. It's not that, but it's just an issue these days. We just have to be careful. And more than any technology to prevent your child from doing this, the best solution is be very emotionally connected with your child. Because the child is missing an emotional bond, some stranger will offer it. And that stranger will show support, or and if the child is talking to a stranger more than the parents, that's when the trouble comes. So more than a blocker or something like, or taking away the phone or whatever, that's the real thing. But otherwise, yeah, I don't think you need to be scared about it.
So what else can people expect from, because I read you've said in interviews that you have reinvented yourself with this book. So does it have the usual Chetan Bhagat elements, or is it completely new?
It is a Chetan Bhagat book. It is light. It is very easy to read. It is, hopefully you'll keep flipping the pages. It will have characters that you feel like you know these people, like you've known people like this. It's very Indian. So all that is there. But at the same time, like I said, writing a story about a missing child is difficult. Writing a mother's point of view is difficult. First time I've taken a story where the hero and the heroine, if you can call it, or protagonists are having an extramarital affair. I mean, that's not something I've ever dared to do in my books for the last almost 18 years. So I just felt I was ready to handle something more complicated. And yeah, so I think you will find something different also. But at the same time, it's not like so different in the sense that you will miss the Chetan Bhagat best things you like.
Well, I'm quite intrigued. Okay, so what is it that makes Chetan Bhagat's books so popular?
I
What
don't
makes
know.
it click?
I think a little bit is God's grace only because you can't just, I don't know why it happened, I really don't know. Sometimes it's right place, right time. I think I was at the right place, right time. Uh, it was at a time where smartphones weren't there. People used to read a lot of books at that time. Even now they do, but because I was able to establish a brand then, it's easier for me now also. And now I use social media to promote my books or online shopping for my books are sold on Amazon. So I think in that way I've benefited. But I always try to write a story that really is from the heart, like people want a writer, they want a piece of their heart. People want something real in a book, and yet it should be entertaining and fun. And that's the thing I always try to do. I work hard also, like I'll try new things, I'll write mysteries, I'll learn, and I always tell myself, what if this was my first book? Then, like rather than thinking, oh, I've written so many books, I now know. I do a lot of testing, like a book. In fact, it's getting difficult for me to find people who will read my book before it comes out and say, I didn't like it or I didn't like this. Because they're like, oh my God, how, like he's Chetan Bhagat, how can I tell him? But I'm like, no, be critical, be critical. Everyone I give books to people who never read books. To people who are not Indians, for example, I'll give them the book. They don't know Gurgaon and they don't know Indian food, but they'll read the book and I'll say, what did you think was wrong in the book? What was right? So I try to polish it. I basically, a lot of times in life, it is about working damn hard. I'm being super honest. I mean, I would love to say it's like that. But whatever anybody who's doing their job well knows that it takes a lot of hard work. So the one good thing is, even till today, I'm 47 now, my first book came out, I'm 29. I still work hard every day. In the morning, I wake up and say, okay, what can I do today? And I think that has made the difference. Just keep this overnight success has been 20 years of hard work. So, yeah.
That's amazing. So, in all these years that you've been writing, how has the reader's sensibilities, or how are the things that they want from a book changed?
Oh, it's changed a lot. Like I said, it's like when my first book came out, 5 Point Someone, there were no cell phones even. Like, or they were like just starting. Most people didn't have. And those who had also had that 2G. Remember 2G? SMS, Snake, Nokia.
Yes.
So people like, who wants to play Snake? Let's just read a book, right? And now, I mean, my God, people are not even talking to each other.
Yes.
Right?
Very
People are
true.
not even talking to their families because the phone is so addictive. So what hope does a book have? So today, is it difficult to hear? I think this mic I have not even switched on. Hello? Is this better? Better, guys? Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, good. So yeah, nowadays attention spans are shorter. The world's biggest technology companies are trying to get your attention. Basically, that's their job. They want to get your attention by showing you anything, some reel, some video, some tweet, some anything. And in that, to write a book which is going to make people say, I'm not going to read my phone, see my phone, and I'm going to read a book. That's a different challenge. It's much more challenging. But I think it can be done because reading is very important. I mean, people who have come here, I don't need to tell you guys this because obviously you guys are interested in books. But to other people who may meet you and say, Arey, what is this people who keep reading books? Who are you, like I'd rather watch reels. Or like, let's say your children say, why should I read books when there are so many good video games in this world? I mean, people think like that. So I would say that firstly, reading books changes your personality. They only say well-read person. They don't say well Instagram reels watched person. They don't do that. And You read a good book, you'll remember it after 10 years. I can guarantee you, you will not remember an Instagram reel, even after 10 days. You know, it's just not built for that. Reading builds your imagination, reading builds your focus. Two very important things anybody needs in life. You need imagination to plan your own life. Where will you be 5 years from now? Someone asks you this question. Not just for artists. Imagination is needed to plan what kind of a life you want to make. Focus is very important. I mean, all young people, everybody has to focus and study and, you know, get marks. So if you don't read, you lose all that. And you just become a slave to the big tech companies who want your attention to show you ads. So I think that is the time we live in today, and I'm up for the challenge. I'll write a story which is, you know, good enough that people forget their phones for a while. So yeah.
It's amazing. So I'm intrigued to know, what is your writing process? Like, how do you research for a book? How do you come up with, I mean, 400 Days is very far removed from your own experiences of a mother and, you know, and like, are you very tech savvy? How did you come up with everything?
Yeah, so yes, there is a fair amount of research now. So authors work in two ways. You write about your own life sometimes, like a 2 states is on my own life, or a 5-point sum is on my own life. But how much can I write about my own life? How many mother-in-law jokes can I make, right? Made a whole book on them. So, but eventually if you want a career as a writer, you will have to be able to write stories that are not entirely from your life. You can borrow a little bit, like, you know, I've seen Punjabi households, and the girl, the mother in this book is married to a, you know, very traditional Punjabi household, so I can bring that in. But I had to research. I had to actually see cases. I had to actually see what is happening. And yeah, I think because of my kind of readership I have, and I've always been on social media, I've always been very aware of what's happening on Instagram and things like that. So I think that helped me. But there was a lot of research process that lasts at least 2-3 months. And for thrillers, I try to see as many real cases as possible. For example, my previous book was One Arranged Murder, which was about a woman who goes to celebrate Karwa Chauth on the roof, and someone pushes her and she dies. And I was like, what a crazy way to die. Like, you know, but if you think about it, it's a very good way to do a murder, because you know they are going to be on the roof. You know the time when the moonrise comes, they're going to be on the roofs. You go there and push in the darkness. I mean, I'm not saying it's not a good thing to do, but if you have to make a good plan from a murderer point of view, it would be. And then this was a real case in Gurgaon. And I was like, wow, something like this also happens. So that became the basis for that. Once I've done the research, once I really, really like an idea, then I let it sit in my head and it grows, you know, literally like a plant. It has 2 leaves, 4 leaves, 100 leaves one day. And then I'm like, okay, this is it. Most ideas don't grow to 100 leaves. Most ideas will be like, okay, it was good idea, but I don't think it can make a really good book. Because one idea and one book is 2 different things. A book means it has to have a lot of layers, interesting in every page. Once I have that, then I'll start work on it. Then it's a discipline thing. It's like going to the gym every day, few pages, few pages, few pages, few pages. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Which was easier in the lockdown, but normally it's hard, you know, to take out time regularly in life to write. And yeah, then you do a lot of editing, and I told you, then I make a lot of people read it, who give me feedback, and then I improve it. So that whole process is it's very exhausting. After every book, I'm like, I'm never writing again. You know, it's like I love writing, I love my book, it's like my baby. But like, you know, mothers love their babies. But if you ask a mother in the maternity ward, do you love your baby? Would you like to have another one? At that moment, they're going to say, please. You know, so that's the state I'm in right now, because this book just came out. Ho gaya abhi, like it's done.
So usually, how long is a process of one book?
So now I can do it all in 1 year. It used to be 2. But that's the only thing experience does, is you don't make the same mistakes, but it still takes 1 year. and it leaves you very exhausted by the end of it. So like I can't write for a while. So, but yeah, it's 1 year still. That's what I'm saying. See, when you see an Instagram reel, it's been half an hour of work, maybe 2 hours, maybe one day they took to make that reel. Hardly. Most people just make it in seconds, right? You will never have that depth of experience in that than a book, because somebody who's an experienced writer is also taking at least a year, maybe two, to write a book, one story. So you're not going to have the same, depth which you will have in a short form, YouTube short or things like that. They're good for time pass, but it's just not going to be touch you in any way.
Right. And how do you write? Like, do you write every day, or for a certain amount of time? Or do you just, when you get the wave of creativity, you just go all in?
So, I would love to have that kind of freedom, but when you're married and you have 2 kids, it's a very different life. I'd love to say, yeah, okay, now I write every day and this is my life. And then your wife will say, there is a PTA meeting, what are you doing? And like my mother-in-law is coming home, or I promised no more mother-in-law jokes actually. So I made them on Amazon Prime. Anybody saw my one mic stand on Prime? Please watch, I did stand-up comedy, that's what she was talking about. But I made too many mother-in-law jokes, and then she calls me and say, why do you make these jokes? I'm like, can you see how much I miss you? So, anyway. So yeah, so there are a lot of distractions if you're like living what Grahast Ashram they say in India, right? So that also I'm doing. Like right now my kids are applying to college and they need help. They need help, but they say they don't need help. That is the worst situation to be in. One is they need help and they say, Dad, help us. Now they're like, we don't want your help, but I know they need help. So then it gets split up. But yeah, I try to have a discipline about it. Once I decide, then I'll say, okay, now is the writing period. And especially in that writing period, I try not to, lose my discipline.
Right. And how do you know when an idea will grow into a 100-leaf plant?
You don't know, you don't know. Even like, it's not just books. Let's say for a business, a lot of few people here might have thought, let me open a business or a startup. There are a lot of good ideas. And actually, a lot of business ideas are good. I mean, if you say, I want to open an ice cream parlor, or if you say, I want to, open a trucking business, you can open one and it can be a good business. But then it comes down to the execution. And that's what the 100 Leaves is all about. Can you execute this? And that experience teaches you that it's a great idea, but executing it, I can now see that in the middle of the book, I'll get stuck. And that's what I think, and in the seasoned businessmen will say, it's a good business idea, but this is the problem that will come after 2 years. I will not be able to grow beyond this, or whatever. So I think life is a lot about execution. Ideas, you don't need that many, but it's about the ability to execute, which is really underrated in life. If you see the people who are very successful, they are the people who just can get it done. I don't know how they get it done, but they get it done. It's like Ola wasn't a most original idea. There was other companies which were doing, or a Flipkart wasn't, but these guys just could execute it, and I can't. And most people can't. So I think it comes down to that also. So I know what I can execute and what I can't execute. Like you tell me to write a story about like a Star Trek kind of story, interplanet travel and all that. I can't write. But tell me like Rishte and Bahu and all this, mother-in-law, all that, I'm expert. I can do it. I can write a story about a man and his mother-in-law, which nobody has written. There are so many daughter-in-law, mother-in-law stories. Why are there no son-in-law, mother-in-law stories? See, again, I'm making mother-in-law jokes.
Your mother-in-law must be your favorite
She's
person.
coughing, like she's sneezing or like somewhere.
So is that what we can expect your next book on?
No. Too much. I've done 2 states is basically that only.
Okay, so when you get stuck on an idea, or when you get stuck in a certain place, what do you do?
So, you have to take a break sometimes. And like I said, I'm trying to make this, what I say here, not just about books, because not everybody here is a writer. But in life, sometimes you will get stuck. Sometimes life will put you in a place where you thought you will grow like this in life. It could be your fitness goals, it could be your career, it could be your relationships. And then you just are stuck and you don't know what to do. And the biggest thing I feel is your belief in your head. That, and I know there have been other ways people have expressed this, but basically, do you think things are going to get okay? Do you think things are going to get better in life for you? Or do you think, no, my life is, messed up, my life is screwed, I will just, get into a worse place only. Now my career is going to be bad only. Now my health will be bad only. I don't care, I started this diet, but now I'm going to get fat only. We all think like that negative kind of thinking. And same can happen with writing. Now I'm stuck, I'm not going to get. So I think belief is very important. That whole secret book, I don't know if you've heard of that manifestation. So I now have told myself, I used to be that way, jumping into the negative zone. And then I would be miserable. And I'm like, wait, that's not good. That's no way to live. You can't live thinking that it's going to get worse. You have to live thinking that it's going to get better. So I say, okay, I'm stuck in this book, but I'll get a very good outcome. I'm stuck because a very good solution is coming. So I manifest that, and then I let it be for a few days and then say, okay, what is going wrong? Where does this get stuck? What is going wrong? This character is not interesting enough. The plot wasn't deep enough. Something, then I will know the answer. So I'll find out the problem and I will fix it. But I think the most important thing in life is you have that belief system that I can do it. Things will get better. Tomorrow will be better than today. I deserve a good life. I deserve success. A lot of people don't think that. A lot of people think, no, actually I deserve a horrible life. Somehow I've had a decent life so far. But you wait and see, in 2 months my life is going to get completely screwed. That is not a way to live. And I think I have had to learn it. I'm saying it because I was that way. So I would recommend all people here also to, if you are stuck, just calm down and say, okay, this is for a reason and this for a good reason and better things are coming.
It's amazing. And I can really see why you are such a motivational speaker. You speak in such simple language, connect to everyone in a very easy manner. How do you do that?
You reach a point. You reach a point where it's not about like, bestseller lists and hit movies and money, all that is great and but ultimately it's about, am I happy? And I had stopped asking that question to myself till a few years back. And then I found that a lot of people are like that. A lot of people are doing so well, they are making good money, but they're not happy. I'm like, what is this nonsense? I was also an NRI, like you guys, I was in Hong Kong. And I was like, why am I not happy? Why aren't we happy? Like, we have everything what everybody wants in India, and now we are not happy. So I just started seeing why that happens, and I first started working on myself, that how can I improve. And then I said, now I have this platform, and yeah, I can use it to tell interesting stories, but why not use it to improve people? Like, just tell them that it's fine. You can be so much better if you just start thinking differently. And I know it's not easy. It's not just like you attend one talk and start thinking differently, because scientifically, your beliefs are like neurons, right? They're all these brain architecture, brain circuitry that has formed now. And it has to be rewired. The brain rewiring needs to happen, that no, things happen for a good reason, not things happen for a bad reason, and that is a big effort. And I found that a lot of youngsters who read my books were getting into that depressive kind of zone, so they could benefit. So I said, if God's given me a gift of a platform of reaching people, why not try that? And it worked out. In fact, a lot of people Like if you come to my YouTube, all the videos are motivational only. There's nothing to do with my writing there. Only motivational stuff there. So you can actually, guys, check out my YouTube. So yeah, I think one should do more, you know. If you have a platform, you should do more.
Amazing. So, moving on a little bit, you've written books, you've written scripts for movies. What is the difference between the two, and what do you enjoy more?
It's different because it's like, book is like you go to French restaurant, 6-course French meal, and screenplay is like making chart, you can say. No, what is better? It's not easy to make good chart, you know. But it's very like mechanical, and it's like plumbing versus beautiful architecture. Now, because a book requires everything I have to write, but in a screenplay, in fact, if you write too much, the actors don't like it. Actors say, "What am I supposed to do then? You've written, I'm sitting there, I put my hand on my cheek, and a tear came out of my eye." I might write like that in my book. They say, "But I don't think if I'm sad, I will not put my hand like this. I will put my hand like this." So why you written like that? So you don't have to write that. You have to say, so and so sits in the room sad. Now that actor will decide how to do the sad. Now, if you're used to writing in books where I will decide everything with how to express sadness, so it is different, right? It is like making like just bhel puri then. But there is an art to that also. So I'm not saying one is better than the other. So it's been interesting. I like books more. I have more control. I'll just, but if I have to do bhel puri, I'll do it. Yeah, it's fine.
So that's it. That was going to be my next question. Is it difficult to relinquish that control to an actor?
Yeah, actor, director also, right? A director will say, I will set the scene like this. This fight is happening between a couple. They will sit like this on the dining table. I will say, no, I want, who's the director? I'm the director. I said, but I made these characters. No, but, so that the clothes are not in my control. Whereas in a book I can write, she wore a red sari. But the costume designer in the movie will say, no, those are not in these days. So it is literally like the whole army takes over. And then they are doing something with it. And hopefully your writing stays in the end. So it's different. But you have to be okay with it. And I am okay with it. I like working with people. The best things I like about movies or screenplays is that writing is very lonely. Writing books is the loneliest thing. But in a screenplay, even if I'm fighting, at least I have colleagues. And I don't fight so much. I'm like, okay, fine. Put a green sari, who cares? Unless they're doing something very, then you start, it's again, you have to think differently. Like, okay, what I have written exactly won't remain, but they will change it, but see if the soul is the same. So I just want them to carry the soul in the scene, not everything else, because everything else will look different, because they are seeing it differently.
So when can we expect maybe a Netflix series that you've scripted?
Soon, but this pandemic really, we were working on things, but everything like shooting stopped and India was really affected badly, and now I'll see, maybe. But you know what? I've acted in a Netflix show. I've not written it, but I've acted in it, and it will come next month maybe, or yeah, maybe even this month.
This is news to
But not a
me,
big acting. I have a one role. It's a Madhavan is there in that show. It's called Decoupled. And the trailer is out actually. So he's playing an author in India who wants to beat Chetan Bhagat. That's the story. So they called me and they said in that story he meets Chetan Bhagat. So I am playing Chetan Bhagat only. So I cannot do a bad acting. Okay, how can Chetan Bhagat not act like Chetan Bhagat? But if people say he's a bad actor now, that means I'm really bad. Because I can't even act like myself. So yeah, that is what I've done. But yeah, obviously I'm trying to get a show that I write.
Okay, this is news to me. We can't wait to watch that. So I'll ask you one last question before I hand over the mic. Of all the books that you've written, which was the most difficult and why?
Most difficult. This one. Yeah, it's very difficult to, it's like a child getting kidnapped. You have to not scare. Like you said, I don't want to be scared and I can't scare. But at the same time, you can't make it so much comedy that it's like people are like, it's a serious thing. But it has to have humor also. So I think striking that balance, that I think took a lot. And I couldn't have written this book 10 years back. I didn't have the skill as a writer. Now when you read the book, in the emotional scene, you'll be emotional. In the funny scene, you'll be funny. And yet at the end, you will say, okay, it's fine. I mean, I'm saying it now because I can see now reviews and all are out on Amazon and all. So that is because it was very difficult to do it that way. Plus a mother, I am not a female, I'm not a mother. I have not had thankfully, a missing child. So to get into that mental state and, it's really difficult. So, but that's why I did it, because I wanted a challenging kind of book that nobody else can write. When you read it, it'll look very simple, but it's not that easy to write this book.
Just wanted to know a small, probably sort of advice from you. Passive voice and direct speech. What should be the percentage in a storytelling or conveying something? I can give you an example. I've seen a person beautifully saying "get out" when he was about to close his office. He said the climate is very good outside. Why don't we smoke and speak? By the time these two people going out, the office boy closes the door. So nice, presentation of saying "get out." If I ask you whether it is, you can even.
I think you have to be the person you are. You have to be. I'm very direct. There are all these jokes going around. How Shashi Tharoor would say Happy Diwali and how Chetan Bhagat would say Happy Diwali.
True. Yeah.
So
exactly.
you have to be true to your voice. I use very simple language. I try to use the minimum words possible. Somewhere, some people believe that very complicated English is good English. I don't believe that. I think it is, I truly believe it is not that simple to be simple, in life and in writing. So I write simply. I put a lot of dialogues because that is my strength. I can pick up on how people talk. But my strength is not big description. So I do more dialogue and I do simple dialogues. And, a missing child, it's emotional enough. I don't need to describe it beautifully. The moment I say a mother and her daughter has been missing for 9 months, it is, why do I need to make the language complicated? Isn't the actual action or what has happened deep enough? So that's what I believe. So you be true to you,
Okay.
There's no rule. Yeah.
Thank you. And I have a small request.
Yeah.
I want your first signature.
Yeah, we are doing the signings later.
We'll have
We
the
will do some
signing
signings, yeah.
as soon as we finish.
That is
My question is, okay, you were a writer when you were in school, or how you transformed yourself as a writer from, at what stage and what makes you to start writing, and how you got inspired in writing actually?
always had an interest. I always had an interest in writing and entertaining people. I would say I have an interest in entertaining people. That's why you see me doing all these silly things like stand-up and acting in Netflix and things like that, because I like entertaining people. And writing was one of the ways, and writing came easily to me. And it was my interest from the beginning, but I never ever thought it will be a career. I never had a career in writing, I had a career in banking. And I just wrote the first book and it did well, and then I said, let's see where I can take it. One more. And yeah, then I said, okay, enough, no more banking, I'll quit. But yeah, from childhood there was some interest. Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yeah, we'll go one by one. Yeah.
Hi, Chetan.
Hi.
Yeah, this is Pramod Mahajan, School Director and Principal of Sharjah Indian School.
Okay.
This book consists of determination of mother, mystery, detective, bonding, relationship, adventure. It's a lot of differentiation. How you synchronize that thing? That is Chetan Bhagat or that is futuristic Chetan Bhagat?
No, that is the art, sir. That is like, if you look at the average Indian dish, you know, you look at the cooking that happens in our kitchen. Try making rajma or try making sambar. It is crazy the kind of spices that go into Indian cooking. But for us, it's second nature now. You know, like, it's okay, you know, some cloves and nutmeg and curry leaves and it's like it's all kind of things. And when other people from other countries see, and what are you guys cooking? Arey, we are just making dal, yaar. So it's the same with our taste in stories. We want everything in it. That's why actually you asked me why my books did well. Because I put everything. I make the Indian buffet. Because you don't like mystery, you'll have the comedy. You don't like comedy, you'll have romance. You don't like romance, you'll have friendship. You know, so this is the art form. This is what I've tried to perfect over the years because a mixture can become overwhelming. It can look fake, but it has to look like chaat basically. Every taste is there in chaat.
Yeah, but
It's sweet also, sour also, bitter also sometimes, salty. All the tastes are there, but yet it's one dish. So that's the thing.
Yeah, in this book, it looks like you're not coming out of the box, but you're throwing the box out. Is it,
Whatever
is it like
you might
that?
say. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just try to do something different, but at the end of the day, a book has to make you feel something for it to be remembered, you know. So the emotion has to be in the right place. All the rest is techniques. But the emotion, it's about what you feel. If the reader doesn't feel it, no matter what the story, people always remember in life how you made them feel, not what you made them learn and all. How you make them feel is what it's about.
Thank you, thank you.
I've never heard anyone make that kind of analogy about writing and Indian cooking. Only you could have done that.
Because they call me no masala writer, so I thought let me own it. Yes.
Hi, Chetan. So it's my wife who's sitting next to you.
Oh.
And during the lockdown time, we tried to avoid each other, and I started writing comedy now, stand-ups more.
See now, this is what happens.
Okay, so we saw your stand-up comedy. So that's my question. Now, is there any new seasons coming up? And my daughter also has a question for you.
Oh, great. So no, that stand-up comedy on Amazon Prime is called One Mic Stand, in which they take a celebrity and make them into stand-up comic. So it's like, it is supposed to be amateur, but I work, because I had so many mother-in-law jokes, people are saying that it's come out really nicely. So all credit goes to my mother-in-law. And unless I have a new mother-in-law, I can't do another season. Which becomes a very different zone only, so let's not
I'm
go
sure
there.
your wife will not be very happy about it.
That's
To get a new mother-in-law.
Yeah, for that you need a new wife, no?
That's what. Okay, Chumehri.
I have a question. So I want to be like a writer when I grow up. So do you have any tips for good writing?
Okay, how old are you and what's your name?
I'm 11 years old and my name is Mehreen Arfaz.
Okay, but firstly, let me tell you this. When I was 11 years old, I would not have the confidence to ask a question in front of whole audience. So you're already ahead. So well done. You know, it's this confidence. It's just that if you want it, you can do it. You see, you will not know anything. Nobody knows things from the beginning. A car mechanic doesn't know how to repair cars. A writer doesn't know how to write. A lot of people don't know what they do in life. They learn. And the good thing is you are very young. So if you want to do it and you have the confidence, then just learn and you will get there. I'm sure you will. Yeah.
Hello, sir. Good evening. My name is Anuja Naya. I'm 13 years old, studying in 9th grade. So I'm a VJ at NTV for
Wow.
7 years.
What is happening to the young generation, man?
Thank
You are
so
like you're
much.
at MTV. You work at MTV at 13.
Yes, sir. I've been working for 7 years.
It's beyond us.
Okay.
You know.
What?
Moving on.
And so you started working at,
Almost 6, 7 at that age.
wow. So like you'll be having retirement at 21? Like retirement
no
party.
idea.
Wow, man. Okay.
Thank you, sir. I've actually met you 2019,
Okay.
last year, and I got a picture from you also. But right now, that year was the first year where I published my first book. and you have been one of my greatest inspirations since then. I have to say a big thanks to you. Currently, I've published 3 books and going to publish 3 more books. So, first of all, a
What
big thank
is
you
going
to you.
on?
Are you getting a complex?
So, my question for you is, as a writer,
I should be asking you questions. Why are you asking me?
as a starter in the author's world or in the writing world, I have a question which is, for me as a student, I have a lot to do in the daytime and the nighttime, but I feel the most energetic during the night. But at the nighttime, when I stay awake, the next day is maybe a school day, a weekday, and I have to go to school, and my energy is drained out. So I feel sleepy at that time. But I work
Everybody
the most.
sleeps at night. I'm just like, I know you feel sleepy at night. We all do. And we all sleep.
The thing is, I feel most motivated at night, and then I can't sleep at that time.
Okay, I think you are motivated enough. And you are like, I don't know, I've not seen an overachiever like this. At 13, I was getting punished in school because my shorts buttons were broken. That is what was happening. That is like, I'm just trying to think back, and you've written, 3 books have come out and 3 more are coming, and you're doing school and you're doing VJing, and you're saying like, how can I do more things? अभी क्या करना है? You want to launch electric cars or I don't know, space travel maybe? What is it you want to do?
I just want to be myself, which I think I'm pretty good at being myself. But the thing is, I feel the most energetic during the night, and when I stay awake at night, the next day I can't do anything.
Yeah.
So as a writer, I feel like I produce a lot of writings at that time, and the next morning
I
I'm
will
drained
answer
out.
your question seriously, but are your parents here? Can I talk to her? What is going on? All parents here want to know, what are you doing?
Sir, actually, I don't know what is going on. When she started at grade 4, she's written something, poems like that, I don't know. Then one day she told me, Mama, the teacher told me when you write this poem from home or in the school. The students told, yeah, it is in the classroom, she written all these poems. Then I keep it. When I am brushing cleaning the room, everything I put it in a waste. After that, I realized, oh my God, this is the poems. I am a teacher. Then also, I can't identify her talents. Then one day my husband told me, why the house is like this? You can clean everything. Then I remembered, in the Lulu cover, I put something there. Then I told him, she written something, can you please take it? Then he told me to, can you please type it and give to me? Then I type it and give to here, one of the poet, Mr. Ismail Melody. He corrected all this, and the books came first one, 2019. That time she met you. She is crying a lot, and she asked your one lady secretary is with me. She told her, yeah, you can come and meet. Then that time she took photo.
Well, I mean,
Thank
you're
you,
doing
sir.
incredible, and just keep doing what you're doing. But sleep at night, sleep is important, and sleep at night is important. I'm just telling you now, not just for you, for everyone here. There's a lot of scientific research that has come that sleeping at correct time at night, which means not too many hours after sunset, and waking up ideally at sunrise, or like 1 or 2 hours within sunrise is very important. The sun rays, like being there when the sun comes out in the morning and a little bit after that, those rays are different and they hit your brain differently. And they don't even go like, your eyes can be closed also, but they can feel it. Like they are affecting neurons which are not connected to your eyes. And those neurons then regulate the hormones in your body. Stress hormones, various other growth hormones, all these things. So if you notice, if people start sleeping very late or they wake up late, they do it for a while, but they become very cranky or they mood. Like, so for all of us, it's a very easy health fix. It's not like you have to go to the gym. You literally have to sleep. But sleep is super important, and sleeping with the rhythm of the earth, which is like the night times means sleep. Nobody can do the exact thing, like when it gets dark, go to bed. That's not possible. But by 10, 11, one should sleep. And by 6, 7, one should wake up and be out a little bit, or be in the balcony or the window open. That sun rays are it's good for you, you know, because it goes inside and hits those neurons which then say, okay, it's morning time, release this hormone. It's night time, release this hormone. All those things go wrong if you don't sleep properly. And especially for you, you're very young, you're growing. So yeah.
Hi sir, how are you?
I'm very good. Thank you for coming.
Myself Sunita Man. I just want to request you one thing, which seriously upset me a lot. Can we expect any other book on India's education system again after Three Idiots?
Another one you want?
Yes, sir. Because
Okay.
seriously, sometimes I feel that it's spoiling the, life of many students and coming generations. I'm not saying all the things in that are bad, but there are a lot of things which relating to
I'll
the.
keep it in mind for sure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. That boy there who's jumping, my God, on the enthusiastic children of UAE, man.
Everyone, or maybe it's you.
Yeah,
Everyone,
but like
loves
these guys
you.
are like so confident and like unbelievable. What's
Hello.
your hi?
My name is Ursulan. I'm 9 years old.
Wow.
I would
big
like
big
you
applause
to
for Ursulan for asking a question, man.
I would like you to sign this book for my mother since you dedicated this book for your mother and all mothers in the world.
Yes, yes. Wow, you read the dedication page of the book. Yeah, so this 400 days, the dedication is to my mother and all the mothers in the world because I told you it's about a mother and a child. Okay, I would be happy to. After this, we are just going to end the Q&A. She will announce how we're going to do this. But yes, you'll get a chance to get the book signed.
I think the last couple of questions.
Hi Chetan, my name is Muhammad Khan. I work in sales, in tourism sales. My introduction to you was The Girl in Room 105. So previously I was not reading murder mysteries and thrillers. And since then I'm not reading anything else.
Thank
so
you.
it's completely. So I wanted to know that basically when you write a book that good, which is unputdownable, like The Girl in Room 105, and then comes One Arranged Murder, like an actor which does a good role and then feels the expectations of the readers, of the viewers, that they now they need to do something special. Do you feel that pressure before writing? And sorry, this is the second part, but being as you've been trying to preach reading, and I love reading myself as well, do you recommend any writers that you read yourself, especially in Indian writers in terms of mystery and in non-mystery as well, outside of India as well?
Well, I'm not, okay. Well, just go to the stalls here, like a DC bookstore or whatever, see a lot of books, flip through them, there are many, many good writers. Your first part, I do feel the pressure, of course, because there are expectations and the whole trade, like it's not just like my publisher, every bookstore, everything, oh, Chetan's new book is coming, it'll be #1 bestseller. It's like, dude, I've been writing for so long, one day what if people say, okay, ho gaya abhi iska, you know? So I do feel that pressure and I'm like, okay, why is this book better than the previous? If I can't answer that question, I don't write it. It's really, and a magician has only so many tricks. So 18 years, how many different, but I've been lucky that I've been able to, and that's why I shifted genres. I used to be writing very love stories, Half Girlfriend, Two States, Revolution 20. They're all more love stories. Now it's mixed. It is a love story. They're all love stories, but it's got that thriller, page turning. There were murders earlier, now it's a missing child. That adds a freshness to the books, and that takes away some of the pressure that it's something new, so you expect new, you're not going to compare it so much. So, but we all feel pressure, you become, you become your own success becomes your competition.
So I think the last two questions maybe.
Hi, hi Chetan. I'm Zishan. I actually I flew from Pakistan just to meet you.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you, man. Big hand to you.
And
Where in Pakistan do you stay?
I stay in Karachi.
Okay.
And you'll be amazed that you have a lot of fans from Pakistan.
Thank you.
And one of the best things which we like is that, thank God you're not anti-Pakistani in your books.
Nobody's
So that's-
anti-Pakistani, man.
that's
Who
very-
is anti-Pakistani? Nobody. We are all same.
So thank you so very much.
We shouldn't have been divided. You want
Very
to ask
nice,
me?
thank
Imagine how big India would be if we were just one only.
Yes,
and right?
yes.
That's fine.
To be honest, so when I started working in a call center, your book came one night in a call center, and the character of Room was just what I was back then. And the Revolution 2020, by the way, is an actual story which is with my friend.
Wow.
So this friend of mine, his name is Sadiq, and when he read your story, he's like, "Abbe yaar, Zishan, this Bhaggu yaar, ye hame kaise janta hai?" So that's. I just wanted to thank you the way you have been cultivating all these characters, which are actually from our college times and from our work lives and stuff. And thank you for continuing to do this amazing work. And now, since there's so much of this coming in the movies, it's very nice to see. And we really would like you to explore more pastures. And
Did you have to do a COVID test to come see me?
Yes, I have
If you had
vaccinations
things
every-
shoved up your nose just to see me, I really want to thank you.
I'll do that. I'll definitely
Thank
do that
you.
because
And
I just want to take a selfie with you, and
Later we'll
yes, definitely,
afterwards.
and we will have the book signing as
Yeah,
well.
book signing first. During the book signing, I can't do pictures. I can't do both at the same time.
Sure.
Because then I'm not just telling you, others also.
No issues, no issues.
Because then if I look up, then for a picture I have to look at the camera and I
Sure,
can't sign.
sure,
So one by one. But just you'll have to be a little patient. But thank
No
you.
problem.
And art has no boundaries because
Yes.
the purpose of the book is to make people feel emotions. So
True.
emotions don't stop at the border, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
not going to be possible that this person will feel it and this person will not feel it. That's not going to happen.
True,
So,
true.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks you.
Thank you. The last question, please.
Hi. Hi, Chetan. I'm a very big fan of yours. I met you the last time you came here for your book launch. At that time, my daughter was in a stroller, and now she's 10 years old, sitting right here
Oh, wow.
beside me. So I actually wanted to tell you that I also want to write sometime. I have a lot of stories in my head, but the reason I aspire to write now is because of the books that you've written. I read all kind of genres, but when I read your books, I just keep turning the pages. So just one tip as to what we can do to make sure that the reader doesn't lose interest. Because, I myself am an avid reader. I end up starting a book, and then somehow around half the book, something happens in life, and then you're like, nah, I don't have
Yeah.
time for this. I need to focus on life. I can't read. But something that keeps you...
Well, firstly, I think as a mother, as a parent actually, but especially mothers, they tend to get too much into kids and they want to write, but they'll never have time to write.
Yes,
and,
that's right,
So
yeah.
make that time separate, and have a place in your house and put your laptop there and this is where mommy writes and
Yeah.
don't trouble me when mommy's writing because
Yeah.
I'll get very angry. Like, I know, I always tell this to parents, to fathers also, but to mothers especially. It is, and I tell it to my own wife also. You keep doing things for kids. Kids are great. But I'll tell you, it is one thankless pit.
That's true, very true.
कोई गिनती नहीं है. करते जाओ. Next day
उनको याद भी
again,
नहीं
next day
रहता.
reset.
Yeah, that's
And in 1 week forgotten.
yeah, true.
And I can tell you when they grow up, what? Who told you you don't write? Who told
Yeah,
you?
that's true.
Once they become teenagers, once they become adults, who stopped you from writing, mom?
But thank you for the gift of your books, honestly.
Yeah, so make that time and get feedback, do a lot of editing. That editing really changes because the moment it's boring, I cut that out like that. So they get a lot of feedback. So that's how you do it. Okay?
Thank you, Chetan.
Okay.
So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Chetan, for this amazing interaction.